Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of the Grumpy Dads podcast. As usual, of course, we have Chris.
Hello. And we have a very, very special guest. Really excited, inspirational, and literally I had to write down all of his accomplishments. Not only because my memory's crap, but because it is quite a list. Why is he doing that?
You said inspirational. There's no other way.
I haven't introduced you yet. Stop talking. Right, so I'm going to read it off. So, author, carer, columnist, speaker, podcaster, mental health campaigner, father, and a husband. It's Dan White. How are we doing, Dan?
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on there. This is great.
Thank you for coming, man. It's awesome.
And I love the title of this podcast, Grumpy Dad, because Emily will take me down directly to a T, that one. Even though I have starred on here with a smile, and they go up at the corner in real life, I'm such a curmudgeon, an absolute miserable curmudgeon. So, yeah.
My wife has assured me it's a really aptly named podcast, yeah.
But look, we're all smiling. Well, we're dispelling that myth already, aren't we, about grumpers? We're all smiling, aren't we?
Oh, Dan will sort that out in editing. It's fine. He'll put a crown on our faces or something.
Yeah.
You're going to do that now, aren't you? I know that's going to get to the editing table and you're going to change the smile. We are going to kick off the podcast with something called Icebreaker Reviews.
Cool.
Similar to last week, which we did with Sophie, I scour the net and I look for certain products and I go and find 1-star reviews because they're the funniest. And you have got to guess the product based on the review. 3 reviews per product. If you guess it on the first review, then you get 3 stars. Second review, 2 stars. Last review, 1 star.
Gotcha.
Sophie last week managed to get 6 stars out of 9 with no help from the useless Duncan because he's just terrible. You might as well be on your own on this because he is useless. I think his only guess was condom, but it's.
I think it was a really apt. When you look at the whole thing, I think that condom was actually a better product than what it was. So I think that fit better.
To be fair, I think a few people have actually said it as well. They've said, "Oh, I thought it was that as well." So hopefully, you're going to get some help this week. So Duncan's going to join you on your team. I'll read out the reviews, and obviously, one guess, not like Sophie, you just rattled off loads. 1 guess per review. And we'll see how you get on. So let's kick off. First review. So painful, I almost bit my nipples off.
Nipple clamp.
No, I do.
No?
I was going to say I like that answer, but just the answer, not nipple clamps.
Oh.
No, you can't get it. Just one guess. Duncan.
I'm going to go with a hair removal cream applicated in the wrong area.
Oh, so annoying. I don't know why I put the work into this if you guess it on the first try. It's so annoying.
I got it. In your face, I'm not useless anymore.
Okay, well, I'm going to read off the other reviews to see if it made sense, right? So the second review of the same product that Duncan's just guessed. It works if I want to be half human, half radish. And the last review on it, the last one, it's a nightmare, a very messy nightmare. The tool it comes with is useless, and I've been left with blotchy red marks, which kind of gives it away of what it was.
Yeah, but you could say that about anyone who's just joined a Conservative Party, couldn't you? You could say that, right? But yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with hair removal. Yeah.
Right, so that was the first one. So 3 stars so far. It's a good start. So next product, first review. Do not sneeze while wearing.
I'm going to go with nipple clamp again.
No.
Face mask.
No. Second review. I was planning to reveal I was wearing at my girlfriend's birthday as a joke. Comfortable to a point I forgot I had it on, went toilet and soaked my entire outfit.
Enema?
No.
Is it a shiwi?
I don't get the enema. Why would he reveal it at his girlfriend's party?
You wouldn't want to sneeze with an enema. That's
No, that makes sense, but I'm not sure that he'd sort of whip it down and show it an enema to
Well, he could have been cracking that joke. Who goes there, friend or enema?
Oh yeah,
Been on that one. Yeah. Who is this man? Where did he school? What were his friends like? Did he go to boarding school? There you go.
Oh, I'm going to say that's a really, really bad guess, that one. I'm not even being polite with that enema one. That's terrible. Right, last review for 1 star. Thought this would be funny to wear on a night out. Police in Spain didn't find it funny, and I was arrested.
There's an array of really inappropriate options springing to
I'm
mind.
not sure if I could. It's not an extra clue, but what famous piece of clothing would you have to wear to get arrested in Spain?
A mankini.
There we go, mankini.
Oh.
So
I'm
we're
2
at,
for 2.
yeah, that's pretty good. So we got 4 stars. You need 2 more to match Sophie, or 3 first guess to climb up to the board. Final one, first review. Not effective at all. Spoke to 2 women and both wouldn't give me the time of day.
Is it Lynx deodorant?
I like that answer. No, it's not.
I'll pass on that one. Yeah.
Okay, second review. I put a lot on because the smell was so weak. Have you changed the formula? Women were all over me last time.
Aftershave?
Go on.
Is it pheromone stuff?
Yes. Well done.
Yes.
Yeah, I really wanted to give it you there, Dan, but as he's got it on there, so you've matched Sophie. So that's joint first. That's a great achievement. So that is the end of Icebreaker reviews. Dan, your TV work. You have been on TV many, 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 many times. What is your most awkward or embarrassing moment while you've been on TV?
Oh my God. I think it was when I accidentally made Emily cry on the Saturday show on Channel 5, and it was live. And in almost respect, it was good in one way because they went straight to a break, so I could apologise. But they made it up to her because they put her on the floor as a runner for the second part of the show, so she was dictating when to applaud and stuff like that. But I don't know what I said. It wasn't anything nasty. It was just we were planning a party in central London, and she accidentally gave the name away of a celebrity who was supposed to be there, but we weren't allowed to mention his name. So I had to say, no, we can't say that. And she burst into tears. And I remember thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Not only have I just shown the country I'm a cruel parent, but I've also just shown none of us can keep a secret. But yeah, that was the most awkward one. Yeah, but she forgave me straight away. But yeah, but she was on the floor, doing the floor run after that, and that was great. It made her day. It was fantastic.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I was expecting a wardrobe malfunction or something, not making a kid cry.
The problem with television is green rooms, essentially, because you're left to your own devices in there, whether probably the world's most expensive coffee machine.
Yeah.
And while you're waiting to go on, you do consume a lot of lattes and flat whites and black coffees and stuff like that. And by the time you're actually due to go on, you are, in my case, totally wired.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. My pupils are like pinpricks at that point, and I'm just totally. Yeah. I'm totally thinking I could really do with talking to someone really odious like Martin Daubney or Nigel Farage. I can really like that. Yeah. I'm thinking.
Dan, that leads me to my next line of questioning, because have you heard of the game Snog, Marry or Avoid?
Yes, I have.
Well, I'm putting a little twist on it, and it's called Punch.
Please don't make it that it's us.
No, it's not us. It's not. I have sort of switched it around a little bit, and it's called Punch in the Face, Handshake, Hug.
Gotcha.
With the people you've worked with in TV, who would you put in those categories? Let's start with something simple. Let's go for the hug first. Who would you hug?
I'd possibly say Victoria Derbyshire.
Yeah.
Because she has been not only a great support, but I worked with her and a team on the special Young Carers episode we put together.
Yeah.
And one of those things. I mentioned it to her after we did the live Brexit report from Westminster, and you sort of get used to thinking, yeah, they say it's a good idea, but they're not going to do anything about it. And then, true to her word, over the next few months, she kept on ploughing and ploughing, got me in team meetings, got me into the BBC to put this together, and it came off in the end. So yeah, I think she is not only a fantastic journalist, but she fights the corner for disability care, especially, and mental health.
Yeah,
she really does.
Yeah, and they rewarded her by taking her show off her, which was also quite bizarre. But yeah, she'd be the one I definitely hug. She's still a great support, as are so many, I must admit. I mean, Jeremy Vines is a great support. A lot of them really are. They just keep there, keep insisting on a here, even if they don't run with it. The communication lines are always open, sort of thing.
that's amazing. Okay, what about Handshake?
Once again, I'd have to say that would be Mr. Jeremy Vine, because I've spoken to him numerous occasions. He's constantly fought my corner when it comes to stories of disability and care. I've appeared with him 3 or 4 times now, and people see him as eternally middle class, but he does have a heart of gold, and he's very courteous. But yeah, he's another one who will fight to get that story relevant to our community. He will fight to get it on air. Sometimes he's not successful, sometimes he is.
Have you ever sort of disagreed with something he said, or do you ever sort of take it to heart if he said something you don't agree with?
No, I mean, I think the first occasion we took, before we talked, he was discussing hydrocephalus, which is obviously what Emily has, which is a builder of fluid on the brain.
Yeah.
And he just dismissed it as something, it just sounds like a headache. And of course, that was before I got to know him. And of course, I had to educate him on that. But I think the thing is with most journalists, when they talk about disability and care, is the fact that they don't educate themselves on it prior to it. And that's where a lot of the media gets it wrong. Yeah. We're still living in a media society where phrases like wheelchair bound and a victim of things like that still fluent in media dialogue, and it really does need to change. I mean, it's 2020, and as much as I love the money that children in need actually raises for the community, I absolutely hate the title of the program with a passion. Still stigmatizing children and allowing this post-war stereotype of victimhood to stay in the public domain, where children are just seen as, oh, bless, oh, and you, oh, and where the children are completely opposite. They're just fiery, passionate, like Emily, fiery, passionate, got their own political beliefs, want to do this, but they're just held back by stereotypes. So yeah, there's still so much endemically in the industry that has to change, but unfortunately, it's still the same thing. You saw it this week with Paul Dacre being put on head of Ofcom. The industry is ruled predominantly by middle-class white men, unfortunately, able-bodied. Until that changes, nothing's really going to theoretically change for people up and down the country. This just needs a good kick.
Okay, let's move on. Punch in the face.
I don't think there's anyone specifically I've appeared that I punch in the face. There are a few I quite happily do it if I got the opportunity to be on television with them. Obviously, Farage right at the top of that list.
I think everybody would.
So far, in fact, his head is buckling on the ceiling and cracking it at the minute. Yeah. In fact, anyone generally of a racist, ableist genre, I would quite happy show them my knuckles in close-up genre and turn their mouth into a graveyard. I think I would. But yeah, there's no one specifically. Everyone's been generally very courteous, very kind, and just let me ramble. People let him ramble now. Cut. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting a punch in the face. Person there. I didn't think it would come to that. I didn't think
I'd punch like that.
Yeah, it was that person.
Stop.
You've been on BBC, you've been on Sky, you obviously said you've been on Channel 5. You've been on ITV and Channel 4 as well, or?
ITV, yeah, quite a lot of stuff for ITV. I remember being in the studio with Alistair Stewart, who's a wonderful, wonderful man. Much missed broadcaster because he's retired. I was telling you an anecdote about that, which was great, because we were doing the live lunchtime news, and I went to the studio. I was much disappointed that it was all green screen. It was just a desk and just green screen around him. And I was sat there waiting to go on. He went, Dan, you're right. And he had something come in his earpiece, like that. And he shouted out, he went, oh, you bastards, like that at the top of his voice. And then went back, and now we're live. Hi, yeah. So, ITV generally, funny enough, not Channel 4, which is quite bizarre because they're supposed to be the au fait channel for inclusivity and diversity and stuff like that. But no, I've never I was booked to do Channel 4 News when the SCN court case came to fruition.
Yeah.
But they changed that at the last minute to focus on Brexit. So, yeah, Channel 4.
Which channel do you prefer being on? Which has got like the I want to say the best production, but you mentioned like green screen. Which you prefer? Which makes you more comfortable to go on?
This one.
Yay! I think that's got to be our clip from here on. That's what we promote.
What's the most famous person you've met?
Oh, this was before my TV days, but the most famous person I ever met was my childhood hero, and that was Tom Baker.
Hey!
Yeah.
He was trending not long ago as well.
Oh, I nearly had a heart attack. My
Yeah,
God.
I thought, no, not him.
I know, but this was the Doctor Who. This is how old I am. Doctor Who 20th anniversary celebration at Longleat in 1983, and I queued up for an hour to get his autograph. And he thrust his scarf around my neck and signed the picture. What I've still got up there. To Daniel, happy days, Tom Baker. So yeah, from a personal perspective, yeah, he's definitely the most famous. But everyone else I spoke to, which has generally been reporters or journalists or stuff like that. No one really of that ilk, because I don't think anyone really of that ilk has, sadly, any real interest in what guys like all of us are really campaigning for, which is quite, yeah.
But they're the special ones, aren't they? It's when you meet those people who are kind of childhood heroes. I've had 2 occasions where I've met childhood heroes, and thankfully were both really awesome at the time. And so it was Eddie Van Halen, which was a long while back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We were all told, like it was a signing sort of thing, and it was, you can only just get him to sign it. You're not allowed to engage. And it was like proper diva stuff, only look at the right side of his face and don't make eye contact. And I just made a random comment. So the guitar work on this particular song, I loved it. Thanks, man. I really enjoyed it. And he was like, oh, yeah. And he started talking to me, and the security guard came over to pull me away. And he was like, stop. And he sat there talking to me for about 20 minutes while everyone else was just getting stuff signed and looking at me really harshly and pushing me on my way.
What, isn't it? That's what the security give this facade of a diva.
Yeah.
You probably realise it's the industry paying for that security guard, not him. He'd be quite happy just to sit down for the rest of the day and talk. But the machine wants all that, doesn't it? That's the sad thing about it.
Yeah. It was a really special moment. But the other one was more recent. I got to meet Mark Tremonti from Alter Bridge and Creed. And got to sit down and have a guitar lesson with him and a songwriting lesson and stuff. That was just, and again, you really worry because they say don't meet your heroes, don't they?
Yeah.
And you sort of think, if this guy's an asshole, my whole life's just going to fall apart. Yeah. But no, they were both really good. So yeah.
No, that's cool. I'm so pleased about that. But yeah, that's a rule of law, and don't meet your heroes.
We met Thompson. I think I was about 5. Davey Thompson.
I met him when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I asked him back to my house for tea. He refused, but
isn't that charm of childhood when kids can just say that?
I didn't know who he was, obviously. I just walked up and said, "Did you want to come to my house for tea?" And he was really nice. I remember he was so tall though. He was huge, this guy. So, and also I ruined a cricket match between Emmerdale and I think it was Coronation Street.
How?
Basically, so my dad, me, my mum, and my brother, we were watching this charity cricket match, and obviously they bowled it in. Someone hit it. It's going for a boundary, and I decided to run on and stop the ball, pick it up, and throw it back to him. And I was around the same age, about 6 or 7. I seem to remember the batsman being quite angry to my parents that I stopped the ball. Yeah,
but then there's stuff when you're a kid you can get. I want to know what the age is where you go from just being a kid to a streaker. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, there's a point where it's quite acceptable to wander around butt naked at the beach. And then, I haven't worked out exactly where that point is. I'm pretty sure I've hit it, but,
It's like, what age is it acceptable to say to someone, do you want to come back to my house for tea? And then you use it as a chat up line, say 20 years later when you're 20, and say to a young lady, would you like to come back to my house for some tea? Yeah. What age do you say
I don't know if it's age or more about the appearance of you. Because if you're, say, I don't know, 12,
but you look, say, 16 or something, does it get sort of creepy?
Yeah.
You get that.
Yeah.
Or even 14 and you've got a mustache and you're asking a woman.
I can imagine that's what Jacob Rees-Mogg said as his chat line. Would you like to come back to my house of tea? We've got beef sandwiches.
He doesn't ask that. He gets his nanny to ask that. So yeah, she'll go off and pick up dates for him, and then yeah, she'll go out in the crowd and ask him for him. So
and imagine a girl's disappointment when she steps through that door.
You're not the only superhero in your family. Obviously, you've got a wife and you've got an amazing daughter, Emily.
Yeah.
And again, she's got so many achievements that I actually had to write them down. Ambassador, obviously, Department of Ability is based on Emily.
Yeah.
Shaw Trust, that she's one of the most influential people. At the National Diversity Awards, Role Model Award, martial artist as well.
Yeah, don't annoy her.
Sounds smart and dangerous. I mean, that's what I was getting. Yeah. What a fantastic job you and your wife have done, and obviously credit to Emily. How has she come to be how she is? Is this that she's kind of mirrored herself on her mum and her dad, or is she kind of blossomed into this person where she's done this off her own back? How did it come about?
Well, firstly, thanks for saying that about that. That was lovely. Very kind. Thank you very much. I mean,
easy when it's true, isn't it?
We don't see ourselves as anyone special. I mean, at all. There's countless millions, like what you guys are doing. There's countless millions of people across the country just fighting for basic equality. But I think with Emily is she became this person in her own right, because obviously as a wheelchair, as she's grown, she's seen firsthand the social model of disability, whereby it's a struggle to access anything, to get into anything. It's a struggle for people to take you seriously as a disabled child. And obviously she's probably picked up on what we have been doing. But the thing about Emily is she is all of her own making when it comes to her fiery personality and her independence. She's just gregariously outward looking, and if she sees something she doesn't agree with, she will mention it and she will say it. She's definitely not camera shy due to the media work she's done. But yeah, she's really her own person. I'm really proud of her for being her own person. I mean, she's got her own battles going on at the minute with anxiety and mental health after the operation and the infection she's had. But even so, she will still stand up firmly for what she believes is right and what is absolutely right for children like her all up and down the country. And we just let her flow there. I mean, I am very proud. I'm proud of both of them. But the fact as well, my wife has been struggling with this bad back for over a year now. Initially, a year ago today, she couldn't even walk 2 paces. Now she's walking around, but it's still giving her friction. It was a slip disc. She's had no treatment. I was looking after the pair of them originally, but she's just fought back mentally and physically to get back to this point. But that also brings you back to the point it shouldn't have been in that situation anyway. I mean, with care around the country, how are we just left to flounder and suffer in the dark? It's just shockingly for a supposed gregarious modern society. People are still on the periphery, Emily included.
I mean, one of the things, reading your blogs and stuff, sort of learning a bit about you, one of the things I really respect is that you've got this real respect for your whole family as a family unit. And I like, you kind of got, it's not something you specifically said, but you kind of alluded to the idea that you lean in on each other and that gives you the strength.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a really beautiful thing. You spoke so passionately about how awesome your family are, both your wife and your daughter. And that's inspiring to me because, you know, we're all, I think the three of us, we're all in that same sort of boat where really without family, we haven't got much left, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And especially in society, this family does count for everything. It sounds like a cliche. It sounds like something at the Waltons, but it's absolutely true. If you don't
sometimes a cliche is a cliche for a reason, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like I said, it's the families I meet up and down the country, the people I meet like you guys here today. I mean, it's just astounding how in this community, be it care, mental health or disability, the unity of families is something that can literally just bring you to tears because we don't have anyone else but our family and our community. And the community me such absolutely rich friends, like you guys, for instance, today has given me such rich friends who all believe passionately and vehemently in the same thing. But that itself is absolutely, I mean, there's a lot of sounds professional. I'm getting goosebumps now because it's absolutely true. The community we build with each other, not just with our families, just is something that without it, I think we'd all be perpetually broken. And it's so.
I completely agree. I've mentioned it before on a previous episode. I run a group on Facebook. We've got 23,000 members in the UK. Whoa. And it's like, we did it when we hit 20,000. I put together a little video just of comments that people have made. And the thing that came across was that almost every single one of them said, I just no longer feel alone. I don't feel alone. And this is what people don't get. It's so isolating being a parent to a SEND child, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, challenging behaviors, whatever. It's so isolating because you get cut off from your friends because they don't understand. You know, and let's face it, you're in the too hard basket, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then you get cut off from family because either too far away or you're kind of in the same boat. They don't understand. They're from a previous generation where autism didn't exist. You're just a little shit, or it's that kind of mentality. And then suddenly you find yourself in this SEND community, if you like, and it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, they're in so many places, and like charities like Scope and so on who do local groups for SEND parents, and there is such a rich community there, but it's finding it, and you kind of stumble across it in the end, don't you? It's not something that anyone points you to.
No, that's the other argument. I mean, as you probably find that when you get the initial diagnosis, you're left floundering to some respects of where to go and what to do next. And it's only through fantastic things like what you're doing with Facebook, which just thank you for doing it. Thank you so much that people reach out and they find it, even if it's just accidentally. And then there's suddenly that blessed relief because you can have that mutual conversation. You can swap ideas, you can swap information, you can even just swap sub stories, whatever it is. But it's that cathartic outlet release that you get from meeting families in a similar situation. I mean, like you said, be it the physical or mental disability, but you just find that and it just creates that bond where you just totally stick together. You're there for each other when the outside world still, like I said, thanks to these perpetual media stereotypes and the fact very little is talked about that still exist. And until that out there gets a bit more better educated and a bit more open, until we can change things around, then we really are only going to have each other. But to me, that's priceless. Meeting new people like you guys, like I said, is absolutely priceless. It just makes me feel so good that you're doing a podcast, which is just going to go out there for people who are just, and they're going to think, oh, the grumpy dads, and stuff like that. So they're going to be drawn into you. So what you're doing in that respect is a fantastic, fantastic thing. And I'm just so happy to be on there today. It's great. Thank you.
It's more than mutual, man. I tell you, the stuff you're doing is huge. And this is just it. It's like, I think, and I was talking to Chris, and one of the things that he said is you kind of feel like you want to be contributing somehow and making a difference. And I think that's probably the cord that ties us at the moment, apart from the fact that we're all parents to SEND kids, is that desire to, I'm not happy to sit back and just be a victim, if you like, in this ableist, victimizing society. I want to be the one who's made the difference. And for my daughter more than anything, I want her to be able to face tomorrow better than yesterday.
It's just, like I said, it's endemic, the fact that society still has that very narrow perspective of what disability is in general. I mean, they look at a child in a wheelchair and assume they can't walk. They're not educated enough to realise that with Emily's case, yes, she cannot walk, but it's not just because she cannot walk. She's got spina bifida, hydrocephalus, chiari malformation. She has autism, stuff like that. I mean, people see an SEN child, a child in the supermarket screaming on the floor. Oh, what a badly child. Go and tell, no, just stop. Wait, think, whoa, hold your horses. This could be a meltdown. Everyone step back. Let's have people in the supermarkets that are trained to deal with this to come over and just say to them, are you all right? Is there anything we can do? Can we just give you some space in this aisle? It's the simple gestures like that, but there's no one out there in the wide world who are doing it. The only ones that are doing it are people like us here and the millions of other families and mums and dads and young carers as well, especially who are trying to do it in their own time, but having to live their own lives. And
I only get it. I think unless you've lived in the bubble, it's really hard to understand. To my eternal shame, I grew up, when I lived back in Australia, there was a family who I got to know who had an autistic son. And it was sort of talked about it. And after a while, it's kind of like, oh, come on, you're milking this a bit, aren't you? And then, you know, someone up there has a sense of humour, don't they? My daughter was born, and it kind of takes over your life, and so it does become a focal point for everything. And thankfully, I've managed to reconnect with them only in the last 12 months.
Really?
But it was so nice to be able to go, I'm really sorry if I ever came across like a bit of an asshole, because I truly understand now. And I think unless you've been in that bubble, it's really hard to understand. But is that an excuse?
Exactly.
We can step out and understand these things outside of our own sphere of experience.
Yeah.
Because there are books, there are articles, there are podcasts, there are TV shows. There's a myriad of things that we can go to learn and bring this stuff on.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think if being in this community, or being in the LGBT community or the black community, when you're in I suppose, minority group like that, I think it makes you a better educated person, because you don't rely on things like, I don't mean to sound like a ramping socialist, but you don't rely on state media for information. You tend to, because you feel under that veil of oppression, you tend to go out and do your own investigations into things. Yeah. You tend to raise the bar for yourself. And I think that's what you've done. I don't think you can blame yourself for your supposed attitude when you're in Australia. That's not really the way you do it. The fault is society around you, because there was no clarification of what was going on. There was no one there to say to you. There's nothing there to you to read, to say what's happened with that family. I don't really think you can be that hard on yourself for that.
I think it's column A and column B. I think we all have our own personal responsibility to be able to look into things and learn more about it. I don't want to fall back on the excuse of blaming everybody else for what I know was my mistake to a large degree, and I need to own that. It's helped me now, because when people don't understand, I kind of understand why they don't understand. Yeah. And if I'm understanding why they're not understanding, then the understanding can come from the understanding. And understanding, Paul, yeah, you get the point. But it's
absolutely.
I like the grassroots level that it should be taught in schools all about it, because I read a ridiculous statistic that it's something like 80% of what people learn in school, they don't actually take with them in later life, whether they go into the field or whatever. So surely there's space somewhere to fit that particular subject in, to explain to children and everybody else. Because I think anybody can have empathy, but it speaks volumes what you said, Duncan, that you didn't know at the time. You weren't educated because you'd never come across it before. If you were taught at a young age that you're going to come across these things in life at an earlier age, and that doesn't have to go with just disabilities or SEND children, it could be going through races and everything else.
Yeah.
Especially when you hear these stories that, like in America, that they're going to be teaching Patriot in schools now. And funny enough, I think I tweeted at you, Dan, they've kind of carbon copied it in the UK.
Yeah.
And it's a brainwashing tool. That's all it is. So they can find something for pointless history where it's about, be proud of the country you're in. And we had this conversation, didn't we, Duncan? That I don't feel I can be proud of my country at the moment, because ultimately I feel ashamed. I feel embarrassed. But can you blame the population?
Well, no, you're right. And it's who you've got to look at, once again, as I'm sure you're all aware, about who owns the majority of that media. 80% owned by billionaires with vested interest in remaining their status quo, tax avoidance, having an influence and foot in the door in government, like Murdoch, for example. So of course they're obviously going to push their agenda on who they want in power. But I think the other thing is there's just a lack of choice. I mean, effectively, you've got two parties to vote for. It's like you get to the ballot box, you think, is that it? Is that just two? There's two parties. But the worrying thing, there seems to be so much more right-wing press rearing its head. I mean, you've got the awful Lawrence Fox, my God, going on about setting up this new party again, complaining because there's not enough on his side. Well, I think I tweeted, you've only got the Spectator, the Mail, the Sun, Talk Radio. It's not really a lot, is it? You've only got 80 or 90% of the country's press pushing your agenda. Who have the left wing got? They've got the Daily Mirror and the Canary. And that's about it, isn't it? And that's just tragedy. All people want today is to maintain what little they've got. And if they think that this particular government will let them retain that little bit, they're just going to vote for them. And every time they do it, the lesson's never learned, because once again, we're seeing tax cuts for the rich going on. Yeah. We're being charged to have COVID tests. and these contracts are being handed out to their friends. And yet you just know in 4 years' time that the blue box will be ticked again. Like it brings it back to what I said here. Only us in these communities, the LGBTQ, the black and the disabled, that actually go out and do our own homework and dig a little deeper, crack the ice of the pond and just look underneath. Is it just us?
It's why you got guys like yourself are so important, because you're taking it to as much as you can to the masses through your TV work, through your media, through your blog and your stuff you've done with the Huffington Post and stuff like that. You really nail it.
Yeah, I just worry at times that I'm just going to be the opinion of a repetitive moment all the time. A grumpy dad. Yeah, because the biggest worry I have as a parent is what happens to Emily when I'm dead. And that is the one single thought I think that every parent carer carries at the back of their mind that they dare not occasionally ever let themselves think about. But unfortunately, it's a fact of life. You see in the rise of institutions again, disabled people not living independent again. I mean, cuts to their essential daily services. And you think, this cannot happen. I've got to spend the remaining years of me drawing breath, literally fighting for her to have an independent and financially secure future. And I think that's the same for all of us. But it shouldn't be like that. It should just be a given. Someone who's born with a condition that is not of their fault shouldn't be penalised and prejudiced against purely because they aren't seen by our society as a profit generator. They're not seen as someone who can sit behind the banker's desk and generate productivity. It doesn't always work like that. It doesn't have to be like that. People just be, and regardless of ability, people will always do the best that they can and will always achieve the best of their abilities. And it should be just allowed to do that. We just become, especially with Brexit, paranoid about productivity and GDP and making stuff we all don't need. It's not about that. It's about quality of life. And our children deserve that quality of life for a situation that's not of their making.
I want to mix it up a little bit.
We got serious there for a little bit, didn't we?
I'm going to end up crying on camera because it is. I can feel my eyes going already. It does lead me to the man himself. I mean, the head of the snake. And obviously with recent stories that have come out about his taxes and the voting scandal. What's your opinion, Dan?
I believe it. I believe anything that Donald Trump. It's just amazing that he could be a racist and a homophobe, but as soon as he's not paying his taxes, everyone's up in arms about it. Yeah.
I really genuinely think politics has just become a battle of haircuts now. It's how bad your hair. Because I'm going to go for a vote, and I think I could go out and do this, and I'll probably get into leadership of some party somewhere just by.
I mean, you must think Boris Blessing just looks like beaten up loft insulation. Trump just looks like a pound of badly formed kicked through a yellow haystack. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I mean, they're just caricature puppets, aren't they?
They are. We were talking about this last week with Sophie. It's like Spitting Image was needed because the models, they're not even that different. It's just ridiculous.
Especially the Michael Gove one.
Anyway, we are going to play another game, and it's called Did He Say It? Based on, like I said, Trump. You have to guess whether he said it or not. I am going to ask a question first, though. Have you seen The Tiger King?
My wife has. Mullets and moustaches. My man should have 2 M's on his head.
Right. Did he say it? People would vote for me. Why? Maybe because I'm good looking. Did he say it?
I'll say no.
I think that was Joe Exotic.
It was Trump. Next one. She is unattractive inside and out. I can see why her husband turned gay.
Yes, he said that.
I think that was Trump.
It is Trump. Yeah. Next one. You know it doesn't matter what the media write as long as you've got a nice ass and are young and beautiful.
Did he say that about me?
I'm going to go Joe Exotic on that one.
No, he didn't say that.
It was Trump.
Oh, man.
Next one. I'm outspoken, good looking, and love a party.
No, he didn't say that.
I'm going to keep saying it so I get it right. Joe Exotic.
Was said by Joe Exotic. I'm not going to say Joey again. The last one.
Right.
That lady profits 1.5 million sucking on heartstrings.
That's Trump.
That's Trump.
No, it's Joe Exotic. He was saying about Carol
Baskin.
Baskins.
So she's the Tiger Lady.
She was his nemesis. But the rumor is, like, it came out of the documentary, is that she murdered her first husband and fed him to a tiger. There's a fabulous meme you'll see out there, which has just got the last known picture of Carol Baskin's husband, and it's just this tiger taking a dump.
They've apparently found
Human remains, yeah.
Is that surprising on a tiger sanctuary with, I don't know, 100 tigers?
Yeah. Joey's not been into work the last few days. Yeah.
They're doing a movie, aren't they? Nicolas Cage to play him.
Oh, God.
You're kidding.
And I'm sure Will Ferrell is a sex cult guy. Do you know the guy?
Oh, yes, because it's just like his character in Blades of Glory, isn't it?
I'm not sure if I've made that up because I want it to happen, or I am genuinely confused. I'm not sure if I've heard that or I just want it to happen.
No, I don't want it to happen. The TV show itself was enough, because it's just, you couldn't write it.
No, you couldn't write. I assume you couldn't. A few clips I've seen, it's almost like a self-parody anyway. It's almost like The Office or something like that.
You'd think it was set up. If you didn't know that little bit extra, you'd think this was just, it is just.
There was so many jaw-dropping moments, from someone getting attacked by a tiger, but it was kind of it was heartfelt as well, because these people, like that woman who got attacked by the tiger, who worked at the actual zoo itself. It was him, sorry. He got his arm amputated, and he was back at work 3 days later because he loved the tigers. They were like family.
But you haven't experienced the true horror until you've seen him sing. Because he does these country songs. Oh,
everything.
When I go to the doctors, whenever at the hospital or the doctor, and you're asked what's your allergy, my answer's always country and western. And he's just exactly everything that's wrong with any kind of music. He's just so bad.
That's the thing with country music. If country music was a kitten, it would be in a sack with a brick in the river, as far as I'm yeah.
Dan, it's been such a pleasure having you on here, mate. Your perspectives and your just who you are, it's really awesome, and it shines through so well. I really can't thank you enough.
No, I can't thank you enough, guys. Not only for what you do collectively as parents and families, for the community and for your kids and for the families, and just the stuff you do, but also for putting this podcast together, and for having me on it. I really appreciate it. I'd love to do another one if it ever came up. I'd love to. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
I'm going to end up crying, so stop going on.
We're going to have to change it to the Weepy Dads. Well, look, thanks everyone so much for tuning in. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. If you've got any opinions on Trump or the Sen community in general, or the trials that we all seem to face just trying to get diagnosis, let alone some support, drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Please subscribe, ring the little bell, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, and I can just say, if you're watching this, it's not Sue Perkins, it's definitely Dan White.
I thought, where's Wally? But I wasn't going to say it.